So let's kick things off with CNN's Chris Cuomo. I think that's a good place to start. Suspended indefinitely. Is this deservedly so or nah?
Well, yes, it is deservedly so. Of course, we talked about this episode quite frequently on your show, Tammy Mack. And listen, I'll just be honest with you. When my side of the aisle says that there is bias in media, this is what they're talking about. Not only did Chris Cuomo cover the story of his brother sexually harassing and allegedly assaulting women, he effectively tried to get his brother out of it. So you have the governor of New York, who was the prominent Democrat, being promoted on CNN, which is supposed to be an unbiased network, by his brother. We knew it was rotten then, and it turns out it was. So I think it's absolutely the right call that he was suspended indefinitely. And I think that this just shows that there is, in fact, bias in the mainstream media against Republican perspectives.
And I would agree that there's bias against the Democratic perspectives as well. Dominique, how are we feeling about Chris Cuomo's suspension?
Well, I think it is the right thing to do, even though I do feel for him. It's his brother. You know, as a person with many siblings, of course, you want to help your brother or sister, but that's not what we do as journalists. We don't get to use our connections behind the scenes to influence in that way. That said, however, I think Dr. O.J. Aleka is funny. The myth of the liberal bias in media is just not true. The majority of media, especially the mass media, the so-called MSM, is owned by far right-wing figures and not at all by a liberal bias. In fact, it's just the other way around. But, you know, to Chris Cuomo, I think indefinitely may mean forever.
That's a sad thing. He and Don Lemon have a podcast together, and Don Lemon, completely shaken and torn up by this whole situation. Alicia, how do we feel? Should Chris Cuomo be gone?
Should have been slicker. Now, you know that everybody's going to try to help their sip. Why would you put it in writing? You know, have meetings at the crib. You know, we can assume that he was going to help his brother. That's a no-brainer. But to actually be able to prove that he helped his brother shows that Chris Cuomo isn't very bright. One thing I have to give to Donald Trump: Trump does not put his crimes in writing. He does not.
I was about to say the same thing. You took the words right out of my mouth.
He doesn't text, and that's the reason why he's so hard to pin down. Other people want to put all their crimes in writing. Just talk to the people over the phone so it'll be his word against yours or her word against yours. So, Chris, that was just dumb. That was just absolutely dumb that you set up there and got caught because of things you actually sent out that you knew were unethical. And I mean, you know, like Dominique said, we don't know how long this indefinite is going to be. Indefinite can be forever. That's what they did with Monique and BET. They said her show was gone indefinitely. That was 8 years ago. So
we definitely know that the word indefinitely means never again.
Tammy Mack, I also want to add that I know Don Lemon was torn up, but the word behind the scenes is he wants Chris Cuomo's spot, as does Jake Tapper and probably just about everyone else on CNN. So torn up only goes so far.
Well, I thought Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon pretty much had the same slot. I see them on CNN together all of the time. I'm not sure that one slot is better over the other, because anytime I think of Chris Cuomo now, I also think of Don Lemon, and it happened during the pandemic. They started doing their shows together. And so now I can't even see them apart. I was beginning to think that it was actually a partner show. I forgot that they had shows of their own, to be honest. And
they do have a bromance, but technically Chris Cuomo has the more desirable slot.
There's more people. Yeah, there's more people still awake on Chris Cuomo's slot. So I can see what Dominique means.
You mean Chris Cuomo's old slot because of Sean? Because he tried to help
but you know what, Dr. Aleka, this is so ridiculous. Fox News, they say all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. And then as soon as you say anything about them, it's cancel culture, cancel culture. When some of the things they do over at Fox, they should be canceled for. And nobody's campaigning over there the same way. So now it's the liberals who, it's sexual harassment isn't one party or the other.
Well, you can kind of party or the other. you can look at Tucker Carlson too and see like all of the lies that he talked about when it came to the pandemic and how much of a fan he was of Donald Trump. So that speaks to the same media bias that you referred to.
And Tucker Carlson and them, they set up there and paid for a documentary for vile Rotten House.
I'm happy to explain why it's different.
It is not different.
I would love to hear why that's different.
They paid for a documentary for vile Rotten House. And I believe Fox also paid Vile Rotten House's legal fees. And then they're doing a documentary because they were taping the whole time. Why isn't that unethical?
The reason why it is different with CNN, and I want to be very clear in explaining this, when you look at the mainstream media, even if you add in Fox News and MSNBC, it is
what about OAN and Newsmax? Don't forget them.
Different views of the political spectrum. Fox News has a view that tacks to the right. MSNBC has a view that tacks to the left. CNN has always purported to be this particular network that is in the middle. Now, when you explicitly have the brother of the sitting governor of New York, who reportedly was interested in running for president, covering how he's handling COVID, covering how he's handling a sexual harassment and assault investigation against him, and the fact that this same brother tried to help the man get out of it, this is the explicit bias that I'm talking about. It's one thing to have a favorable opinion of a particular politician on the left or the right, which happens on MSNBC and Fox News all the time. No one's disputing that. But it's another when you are the brother of a governor who is under criminal investigation and you try to help him get out of it while also trying to say that you're objective on the news. That's just simply bias.
To be fair, Dr. Oleka, they didn't let Chris Cuomo report on that. That's why he went on his podcast talking about it, which is part of what got him in trouble. And when we talk about the media landscape, Fox also says they're fair and balanced, and OAN and Newsmax think they're fair and balanced. So everybody's saying they're objective and nobody is. Let's be honest about it and say everybody's got a point of view. There just happen to be more ownership and clout on the right-wing conservative side of the spectrum in this country.